touchdown for the Rams. A 13-yard strike. Quarterback Darnold gets the shotgun snap. And pump fakes. It grabbed in the 9th sack. Back at the 9, Dejon Johnson comes through and makes a sack. I've got 9. I got to keep my tally up. But, I mean, this quarter, I think it is 9 sacks. Yep, I'm counting here. There's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 9. Wow. What a night. What a night. What a night. Stafford again under center. Again to a knee, and that's all she wrote. The Rams, they win it 27-9 over the Minnesota Vikings, tying an NFL record with 9 sacks. The quarterback throws 2 touchdown passes. They get a defensive scoop and score, fumble recovery touchdown of 57 yards, and manhandle the Minnesota Vikings 27-9 here in Glendale, Arizona.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty with Jake Gutierrez. Thank you very much for joining us today on the show. We're going to talk to Mark Boerichter, former Chiefs wide receiver. Our friend Jeff Kerr from CBSSports.com in the 8 o'clock hour. And then Jeff Chadia from NFL Network and NFL.com will be with us in the 9 o'clock hour. We've got last night's playoff game between the Vikings and the Rams to talk about. We have an attractive college basketball schedule tonight that we can discuss that features, well, if there was ever a must-win, you would think it's tonight for Kansas State. They host Texas Tech. And Kansas State now under 500 for the season, 7-8, 1-3 in the Big 12 after being blown out at home by Houston. Now they take on a Texas Tech team that is 2-2 that just took Iowa State to overtime.
We are talking about K-State.
And so K-State needs to win that game. Over in the SEC, there are some huge matchups. Mizzou has a very, very, very tough test. They play at number 5, Florida. 10.5-point underdogs. Florida, their last 3 games. Their 3 games in conference play. They played at Kentucky and lost 106-100. They hosted then number 1 Tennessee and beat them 73-43. And then they just won at Arkansas 71-63. And so Florida's been very impressive so far in conference play. But Mizzou has a 2-1 record. That equals Florida's record. And so it's an opportunity game. Florida, that loss to Kentucky is their only loss on the season. They're 15-1. And so Mizzou is not expected to win this game. But man, if they could somehow pull it off, that would be huge. I'm not expecting them to, but it would be really nice to go down there and see them be competitive. Tennessee went down there and just got run off the floor. But that's tonight at a very stupid tip-off time of 8 o'clock. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. Start a basketball game at 6 or 7 or something like that. I get it. Well, we got the 6 o'clock window. Stupid. 8 o'clock. Whatever. Also, Mississippi State. Number 15, Mississippi State's at number 1, Auburn. Number 21, Ole Miss. At number 4, Alabama. Number 11, A&M. At number 4, or at number 8, Kentucky. Damn. So, That's some really good college basketball action in the SEC tonight. And a must-win game for Kansas State. But I guess that's not a must-win. If they lose, they're just buried, 1-4. Last night, the Vikings got buried. Got a lot to talk about after that game. And, I was up and down with the Vikings this season. But unfortunately for anyone that roots for the Vikings, I did say something several times this year, and it turned out to be true. Because Sam Darnold was playing marvelous football, and the Vikings, I kept looking at their record, and I kept thinking, how do they have this record? I don't think they're that good. I don't think Sam Darnold's that good. Their coach is really good. They have the best receiver probably in football. But how are they doing this? And if you remember, I said a couple of times, man, this smells like a awesome regular season and then get to the playoffs and one and done. And what it turned out to be was an awesome regular season, and they got to the playoffs and one and done. I questioned yesterday several times what their mindset would be, how difficult would it be to bounce back from just a week ago having a chance to be the number 1 seed in the NFC and getting the bye week and immediately advancing to the divisional round of the playoffs where you would be at home in a favorable matchup. And really, I mean, look at it. If they would have won that game, you're talking about being at home against the Commanders. The Commanders are good, but they'd already be in such an incredible spot, just like Detroit is right now. If they would have beat Detroit, they advance past the wild card round, and they get to host Washington with a real chance to host the NFC Championship game. You lose that game to the Lions, and you fall all the way to the 5 seed, and then you got to go on the road in this weird game in Arizona against the Rams, who, and I mentioned this too, their A game beats the Bills. How do we know? Because their A game beat the Bills. Their A game, they could beat anybody. Now, the Rams have also shown that they could lose to anybody. They've been all over the place. But Pete Sweeney pointed out, since the bye week, they're 9-3. In that last game, they didn't play their starters, so really 9-2. And so they've been hot. They've been, over the past couple of months, one of the best teams in the NFL. And I always think that Jake is interesting to study and how he arrives at his conclusions. And I feel like yesterday, Jake, I don't know if you recognize this or admit this, but we share a common trait. We can be very stubborn. We can be very stubborn like a mule, and we can kick.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
And I believe that you even presented all this evidence that of why the Rams are going to win, and then you just would resist it, and you stuck with the Vikings.
Several times last night went through my head. Steve was like, better quarterback, better coach. Let me just get this right. You were saying that they have the better quarterback. You said Matt Stafford's the best quarterback in the NFC, right, Jake?
Right.
And you're still going to pick the Vikings.
And then Bill Moss laid out.
Right.
But he wasn't even talking about this game. Okay, do you remember when I asked Bill about the importance of home field advantage now versus when he played?
Absolutely.
And and I basically, Nate, I asked him, is the Arrowhead crowd, is it the same type of factor as it was when Marty played or when Marty coached? It's not as loud. I could say that because I was part of it then, and I'm there now.
Yeah.
It's not as loud.
Yep.
But Bill said, look, it doesn't matter because they don't need it the way we did. We had to have that crowd.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a 15. He said, we didn't have a 10. We didn't have a Trent Green. We didn't have one of those guys, and so we had to have a defensive touchdown. We had to have a special teams touchdown. We had to create turnovers. We had to have a deafening crowd that affected the opposing offenses. We had to have this incredible home field advantage that we fed off of. We needed it. We had to have that because we never had an elite quarterback under Marty. Because when you have one of those, you don't necessarily need. It's great if you have both. That's awesome, and the Chiefs have both. They have a great home field advantage and they have a great quarterback, but they don't necessarily need it because we've seen the Chiefs can go on the road and be wildly successful in the postseason. And so, as he was saying that, as he was talking about that, I'm thinking, yeah, the Rams have an elite quarterback that's won a Super Bowl in Stafford, and God love him, he should be comeback player of the year, or he should win something for what he did. Sam Darnold ain't about that life. He's not that. And Jake, you could be right about Sam Darnold.
First playoff game ever.
Yeah, you could be right about Sam Darnold in saying that, hey, Sam Darnold can be a good NFL starting quarterback. He was not a bust. There's a handful of teams out there right now that are going to want Sam Darnold, that are going to try to get Sam Darnold, that would improve their quarterback situation by acquiring Sam Darnold.
There's probably 16 to 18 teams that he would be a better quarterback this year than they had.
But that doesn't mean he's elite. Matthew Stafford, from the words of Jake Gutierrez yesterday, is elite and arguably the fifth best. You could make an argument for him being the fifth best quarterback in the NFL. And you can make an argument for him being the best quarterback in the NFC. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl. He's put up eye-popping numbers. He does things that few quarterbacks are talented enough to do. He's fantastic. And so that's why, because we just have this, and it doesn't always pan out because sometimes crazy things happen. But, we have this rule that we kind of lean on, especially when it gets to the postseason. Who has the better coach and who has the better quarterback? And if the answer is the same to both, that's the team I'm picking. And that's why I was taken aback. Like, okay, so, and I asked, who's the better head coach here, McVay or O'Connell? And you go, McVay. I said, well, who's the better quarterback? It's Stafford, right? You just said he's the best in the NFC. It's Stafford. Well, who are you picking? The Vikings. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I get it. And then you said, well, the Vikings defense.
I'm rooting for the Vikings.
You said the Vikings defense is really good and everything else.
Yeah.
But again,
up into that one.
But again, as Bill Moss said, that doesn't get it done in the postseason. Now, if you have there's exceptions to every rule. Okay, if you're the 2000 Ravens, if you're the 85 Bears, if you're
one of the greatest defenses of all time,
Lawrence Taylor's New York Giants, sure you can get it done. Okay, sure you can win a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer, Jeff Hostetler, Jim McMahon. But for the most part, in the playoffs, give me the better coach and the better quarterback, especially if the same team has both of those answers. And again, Sam Darnold, what he accomplished this year is great because he was an NFL leftover. He was just a guy, kind of like what happened to Baker Mayfield. And look, and I did say, we said this, hey, he could be this year's Baker Mayfield. Guess what? He was this year's Baker Mayfield. The former first-round pick, and his career was basically left for dead, and he came back and proved, like, no, I'm not a bust. My situation was a bust.
Right.
I'm a good quarterback. And he could still in the future win a playoff game or have several good seasons. Baker Mayfield backed it up this year. He didn't win in the playoffs, but we agree he's a good quarterback. Starting quarterback. Yep. And so is Darnold. But in the two biggest games of the year, that was,
Not good.
no. With everything, with the number 1 seed on the line and then with the season on the line. And it wasn't good for the Vikings either. And it wasn't good for their defense either. And then the Rams, now the Rams could very easily go out next week and lay an egg.
That game is going to put your theory to the test in a great way. Who's got the better quarterback in that game?
What game?
Their game against the Eagles.
Well, Steven might say Hurts.
Do you think Hurts is better?
I said Jalen Hurts was number 5 yesterday. So
Okay.
I push back. I will push back against. I will admit, I like Hurts way more than most teams because when I watch him, when he's on, because he can be all over the place. His ability to run the football and that tush push, and when he's on,
Yeah.
I don't think he
Yeah.
gets enough credit for how good he is.
I agree.
I
agree with
and
that.
look, and I'm not sure, but I don't think it's dead set like Stafford for sure is better than him.
Like it's not.
I don't
It's not
know.
Stafford Donald, right? It's
Yeah,
Hurts-
yeah,
there's not that
there's-
big of a
yeah,
separation.
Hurts and
yeah.
Stafford.
Now, quarterback and coach.
And with the way they're playing, like with the way they're playing right now, like
Yeah.
even Hurts, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know who I'd take. I think I almost think it's a wash. That's a great quarterback battle.
Yeah.
They're much different.
Yeah.
Philadelphia might have the best roster.
But
in the
Hurts
NFL,
is
too.
he's such a headache when he's on. When he's got the deep ball going, and he's utilizing those weapons at wide receiver and tight end, and then he adds he'll drive you crazy because third down, then he'll pick it up with his legs, and
I mean, just-
every third and
And
one.
he's
of
got
course,
the
they
it
pick it up.
factor.
Yeah.
He's a
Remember
winner.
how good he
He's a
was
winner.
in the Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
he
Except
Right.
he did hand
Right.
7 points to the Chiefs.
Right,
But
he was pretty damn.
But he was
good,
damn
yeah.
good. He was damn good.
And he's been to the Super Bowl, and so it's not as decided as it was of
Yeah.
Stafford versus Darnold.
Because I feel like, I don't know if you guys would agree, I would feel like the quarterback-coach combo,
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the Rams. But the Eagles, like you said, Jake, have maybe the best roster in
All
the
their
NFL.
rosters,
So
yeah.
that's I don't know if you agree with the quarterback-coach combo.
And
part.
again, even though he's mocked because of his behavior, he is a head coach that's been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that separates him
Yeah.
from the Minnesota coach.
Yep.
And if not for the heroics of Patrick Mahomes
Playoff
and
Pat.
the Chiefs, the playoff Pat,
Right.
they've got a championship.
Yeah.
And so yes, but I don't, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. It's not such a wide separation.
No.
Even if you're going to take
it's
No.
debatable.
Stafford and McVay,
yeah.
it's not by a wide margin like it was in this
And
game.
I'm not talking about Stafford's resume, his career. I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
Right now, because Hurts is closer to his peak than Stafford is.
Yeah.
Hurts has some deficiencies, but when he's on, he's just that offense, or he can be unstoppable. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you do on 3rd and 1? You can't ever stop him.
And like you
What do
said,
you do, you know?
he's shown he'll step up in big moments and big games.
Right.
Because that's one of the things you wonder about some of the guys, too. And we're still wondering it about the AFC quarterbacks outside of Mahomes.
Right.
But Hurts has already been to a Super Bowl. And
he's been to the big game.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned yesterday, he has, was it 5 or 6? 5 straight playoff games with no interceptions. That's pretty good. You know who has the record with 6?
Mahomes.
Yeah. But I mean, that's
Yeah.
now he
doing?
lost a couple of those
How you
games,
doing?
and one of them was the Chiefs, the Super Bowl. But still, that means something.
It's not nothing.
But like, if you look at each game, I mean, that's a decided advantage for the Chiefs, head coach and quarterback. They're going to have that advantage over everybody. But there's to me, like DeMeco Ryans is an ascending star as a head coach, and so is C.J. Stroud. But there's a big gap. Okay,
They're both in their second year.
right.
I mean,
And then you look at the showdown in the other AFC divisional game. You would think head coach is a pretty good advantage with Harbaugh over McDermott. But, I mean, my quarterback rankings, I have Josh Allen 2 and Lamar Jackson 4. So I would have Burrow 3. But if somebody tells me, no, I'd rather have Lamar Jackson than Josh Allen, I'm not going to throw a fit about it. Like, okay, whatever, man.
the thing with those two guys is like any given Sunday they can be the best in the whole in the entire league.
So far the difference between them is
Playoffs.
Josh Allen's career playoff numbers. If you look, if you look at the 17-game average, even though he doesn't have 17 games, Mahomes has 18 playoff games. If you look at what their averages out over a 17 game, Josh Allen across the board is just a tick under Patrick Mahomes, but he's under him.
Playoffs?
Lamar Jackson's stats aren't anywhere close in the playoffs, right? But John Harbaugh is more accomplished in the postseason, and Sean McDermott, I think from some people's perspective, Jake has held his team back, or is that?
No, yeah, I'm not a Sean. I honestly don't think that they'll win a Super Bowl with him, and I think he's the biggest hindrance to Josh Allen winning one.
But like in the Detroit Washington matchup, the better head coach, Dan Quinn, Dan Campbell. Who's the better quarterback, Jared Goff or Jaden Daniels?
It's crazy to say about a rookie, but I think Daniels is better.
Goff is really good. Goff
Yeah.
has he's been to a Super Bowl, but I mean, Jaden Daniels,
He's special,
looks like
man.
looks like he's it.
He's
And for the head
special.
coach, I don't Dan Campbell so far, but I mean,
Yeah.
Dan Quinn could go and beat him, and the resumes aren't as stacked, and so that's still open for debate. It's interesting, but I just thought last night it was funny because Jake he's been so hardcore about it over the years. You got the better head coach, a better quarterback. I'm picking you, except for yesterday.
Well, there's an exception to every rule.
Yeah. But I was
That one
disappointed.
last night.
I thought it was going to be a better game, but I also did question several times yesterday, like, man, how can the Vikings bounce back from that terrible disappointment? I mean, you were right there, and they had momentum. You're looking at the 1 seed, and that ain't falling to the 2 or the 3.
Yeah.
You fall to the 5. You don't even get a home game.
And they got smacked down pretty good in that Lions game too.
They got away from them in the second half, yeah. If you had to question their confidence, or just question, that's tough to lose that. On the last, we'd never seen anything like that before. We'd never seen two teams with those many wins in the final game of the year battling for the 1 seed. And that's got to be a gut punch, man. And then you're looking at it. We just won 14 games and we're the 5 seed? What? Yeah. And then they had to go to a dangerous Rams team who recently beat the Bills, who we all agree when they're on, they could beat anybody. So 27-9, Rams beat the Vikings. How did you take it last night? You didn't have anything actually riding on that, did you, or did you?
Oh, I did, but I was okay. I had a Kyron Williams anytime touchdown placed.
That thing was I was disappointed. It was just over.
Right? Yeah. No, that's
so fast.
It
felt like the touchdown, 3 and out. Like,
Yep.
they're in trouble.
On that scoop and score, you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
it. That's
Yep.
it.
I was trying to get my son, to be actually interested in watching the game with me.
Yeah,
So,
good luck
on the
for
way
him.
home from school, I was talking the game up pretty good. I was like, hey, the Vikings were close to being the number 1 seed. And now they got to play on the road. This should be a really good game. The Rams have been hot, And then, first drive, I was like, Vikings might be in some serious trouble here. He goes, you just told me this was going to be a good game.
But I would definitely, if I'm the Vikings, I'm probably moving on. I've got this first round draft pick.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna let him go.
Would you consider franchising and trading him?
Yeah, I would trade him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd move on
Because he's a free agent.
Yeah.
So I mean,
you got to find out what you got in this kid.
Oh yeah, and honestly, it's a smart move too when they picked up Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I mean that's a legitimate backup. So if for some reason he struggles, you know that you can. Not that you ever want to go to Daniel Jones, but it's better,
No, you never want to go to him.
No, but that's a competent backup.
But there's so many teams that if you need your quarterback situation stabilized, Sam Darnold could do it. Or if you're planning on drafting a quarterback and you don't want to play him right away, Sam Darnold has played his way into being an attractive commodity.
And back to the Baker Mayfield comparison, what he does is he allows you about $20 million in cap room. to use. I mean, because Baker's making about 30 or 33 or something like that. In the high end, the best quarterbacks in the league are making $55 million, $50 to $55 million. It gives you cap flexibility when you have a guy like Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. You know, that's not Tua, not Lawrence. Like, those guys are crushing your cap. You know, and it's like, I think those two quarterbacks are pretty similar to Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold.
Now, there should be several teams that are interested enough to give up a nice draft pick to the Vikings. Either way, Sam Darnold will find a starting spot next year, and the Vikings should probably figure out what they got in J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Because they spent a first-round draft pick on him, and they got that window. And that would be, just think about, you know, if they're right on him, that's a talented roster, and they could utilize that window where he's under that rookie contract. And,
I mean, it almost did them a favor, right?
It made the decision for him.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You can't go back to Darnold now.
Right. So, like, you know, if he
Isn't that crazy? He won 14 games. Can't go back to him now.
Well, yeah, but if he would have beat the Lions or won this game and made a run in the playoffs, then it's like you have a real decision.
The decision was made. You're
Yeah.
right. You're exactly right.
So I mean, he did them a favor by.
They may not like that favor right now, but
No,
for the long
absolutely
run,
not.
it clarified.
Yeah.
It clarified things.
Sure.
It clarified things.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHP. stop by the office right after the show. Welcome back to the show. At one point, I turned the game off last night because me and the missus were waiting patiently to watch the Landman season finale. We were unable to on Sunday night because that football game was good. And then after the football game, we were harassed by our daughters, and they are not going to watch Landman. And so, how many episodes are you in?
I have not watched the finale, but I'm caught up.
Are you okay?
So I'm caught up until I just didn't
Until
watch
what?
until Sunday.
Oh, so you're
I am not seeing the finale.
okay,
yet.
but you've seen everything else.
Everything else.
Listen to me. I can be guilty of hyperbole. I can be guilty of exaggeration. Listen to me. There's a reveal. There's a cameo. There's a character that's finally introduced, right? And you kind of feel it. I don't know if you feel it. Do you feel anything like there's something out there or whatever? Like a character that's kind of been dangling out there, or do you?
I don't think
I saw this coming from a couple of episodes ago.
Okay, no, I haven't.
Well, just like okay, it's not you know there's a boss out there
Okay, yeah. Yes, it's been mentioned.
of the cartel. There's
Yes,
a boss out there,
right.
And I kept telling Susan, I said, here's the deal. Taylor Sheridan don't miss. He don't miss. So it's gonna be someone good. But my problem is my expectations are through the roof, right? Because look at the people he just throws at you. You know? Like in 1923, here's Harrison Ford. Or here's Helen Mirren. Here's, in this thing, here's in a supporting role, here's John Hamm and Demi Moore. Here's Billy Bob Thornton. He's just A-listers, right? I'm told about some. If we find out who the boss is in this last episode, my expectations are too high. I'm going to be disappointed. She says, why do you always do that? You overanalyze it. Why don't you just watch it? Okay. I think about these things. And it's no surprise. It's all over the place. Don't look on social media because it's.
I have not seen it yet.
It was better than I hoped for.
Wow.
To the point where I almost ruined it because I kept saying, "Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I love him. I love him." Now I probably like him more than most people, but I'm gonna give away too much. There's one of my favorite movies ever that's been just running for some reason over and over again on HBO, and he's in it. And I just watched a good chunk of it earlier that day. Probably he's been on my list of actors I really like for. How old is that movie? How old am I? 35 years. Or
Killing
so.
me.
He's just been. And
I almost want you to ruin it for
I'm
me.
fairly confident that you love him or like him enough to where you're like, yeah, yes, yeah, boy. I paused it. And she got mad. I'm going, look who it is. She goes, you said it 5 times. I know who it is now. You've said his name repeatedly. I said, I can't get over it. I was just watching him earlier in this movie. I love him. He's underutilized as an actor. I hadn't seen him in anything in a minute. And so I was just super excited. And it was about 6 or 7 minutes, and man, was he good. You know, sometimes that was one of my problems with Ozark. Like the guy that they had as the Kansas City crime boss, I'm like, well, did you do this blindfolded and with your fingers in your ears? What the hell is this? What is this?
You weren't buying it.
Now his son was good, the kid was good, right? But the dad was like, oh, come on. Don't do Kansas City like that. Give me someone with with something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy had something. I'm like, oh boy, look at him. As soon as he walked me, and obviously he's older, but as soon as he walked in, and the way they did it, the reveal, it was so cool. And then you see it's him, like, oh, yeah. And so the way they painted it now, season 2, he'll be very involved, and it makes me very happy.
What is this?
Right. And so the people that have already seen the Landman finale, you know what I'm talking about. And there might be people that aren't as excited about it. But by God, it was a home run.
It's taken all my willpower not to Google this.
Do you want to be surprised? Don't you want to be surprised?
I do, but I also just want to know.
No, you can't. I mean, I'll tell you if you want me to.
It's probably best you don't.
Is it? Would it ruin it for you?
No, it won't ruin it for me.
Well, you just wait.
Yeah.
See if you happen.
I'll watch it today.
Let's see, Nate. You Google it, Nate.
I did.
I'm afraid Nate will say, I don't know who this is.
Well, I know the name. I recognize the name,
Right.
but I couldn't tell you what he's been in.
That's
If you
fine.
tell me some of the movies, I'd be, oh yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
him. You know.
Oh yeah, I would say that you probably have not seen the movies I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Although you should. There's one of them you really should. One of them's such a classic.
There's a lot.
One of them's really, really good. It's a classic.
Yeah.
You have to. It won several Academy Awards, and it's just a hell of a movie.
Okay.
I remember this. I went to see it with my dad. I think it was before he went away. So that's how long this guy's been around.
He's been around for a while.
My dad? Oh yeah, 73 years.
I'm trying to remember the last time I went to the actual movie theater.
The movie that made this guy kind of pushed him into being a star was in 1987. And he was just a supporting role. But it was like you couldn't get more of an A-list cast than this movie had. Like legend. And the star of I could give like a little. You want one hint?
I'll take one hint.
The star of this movie that made him a star in '87 went on to star in one of Taylor Sheridan's series. So that's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna give you a list of movies to watch on your fancy plane rides. You won't watch them, but I'll give you a list. I'll give you a list of movies, like essential movies that I believe you should watch.
I would like that.
And one of them
like
I've told you that you just won't watch is The Aviator because that was on yesterday.
Oh yeah, no, I would watch. I would
That's
like
a
to watch
great
that.
film.
Just for DiCaprio. You know, but it's not
Kate
just for
Blanchett.
DiCaprio. Kate
Blanchett
Blanchett
is
is Katharine
phenomenal.
Hepburn. Is
I'm a big
through
fan
the
of
roof.
hers. I'm a big fan of hers.
She's probably, I think,
Fantastic. You're exactly right.
she's the
But
best.
there's a bunch of people in that movie,
Yeah.
and the roles were fantastic.
Yep, that's a great movie. Great movie.
And
She was in my favorite Wes Anderson movie.
You know who was just a bastard in that movie was Alec Baldwin.
Yeah,
As Juan Tripp.
yeah, from the airline.
Yeah. Oh, but also, you know who had the best
Pan
cameo?
Am, right? Pan Am.
You know, I thought who had the best cameo was Alan Alda
I like Alan Alda a
He's
lot.
great.
as the senator,
Yes. Yes.
and he knows how the OCD and all the problems Howard Hughes has. And remember they had that lunch. He goes, "It's trout. You like trout? You like fish, don't you?" And like Howard Stern's looking at this like fish with the eyeball. It's just weird. It's just
I was thinking of Alan Arkin, but I like
No,
Alan Alda
Alan
too.
Alda's-
Yeah.
yeah.
Alan Alda's so good in that.
Yeah.
as the crooked
Senator,
paid for
yeah.
senator. Yeah. You got to see that too.
Yeah, I do want to see that one.
It's that's a really well done film.
Whenever that's
Give me a
on,
list.
I
I
gotta
think it
watch it.
won Best Picture, didn't it?
It should
Or was
have. I
that
don't think
for
it did. I don't think it won anything, but it should have. All right. But for people out there that saw the season finale of Landman, maybe you weren't as excited, but that's one of my guys because he was in several movies that I really love as a youngster. I can't believe that movie I was talking about was from 1987. Wow. You've been around
Kate
forever.
Blanchett won an Oscar.
And she should have.
And it was also Academy Award for Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, and Best Film Editing.
I've never seen anyone portray like OCD in those like DiCaprio did in the movie and got it right. And you're like anyone that has like yep.
I mean, it won 5 Oscars.
Kind of like watching Zane Gonzalez the other night before that kick. Like yep, been there, done that. As he continued to touch his hair over and over again. You want me to tell you? I'm not gonna tell you.
Don't tell me. I'll watch it today. And
I like the whole. I like the
send
whole
you a
story.
text.
How quickly will you watch it?
It'll probably be this afternoon.
I'm pretty sure that you're gonna have a similar reaction to me. I feel like I am.
Your phone's gonna blow up when it happens.
I feel like I am.
A fist pump in the air.
Because this guy's to me just a badass, you know. So. And you got to, you know, and so you know if he's playing, you know, the head of a cartel, he's kind of, I don't know.
Has he been here in town for Comic-Con before?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. I have a couple guys in my mind.
I missed out on that.
He was in town for PharmaCon with Lisa last week, but that was different.
Someone did a sketch of him out in the crowd. And we'll take a break. Back into this on WHB. Stephen St. John here for my friends at Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. As the cold weather settles in, Joe's KC Barbecue wants to make sure you can get all your smoked favorites in the comfort of your car. Getting Joe's to go is super simple and easy to do, and this is what I do. At least once a week now, when I leave work, I always try to surprise my family, and I don't tell them when I'm bringing Joe's home. I've already downloaded the app, you know, and I created an account on the Joe's KC app. You can get it on the Android or iOS platforms. I place my order for curbside pickup. I put the time that I want to pick it up, and then I arrive, text that I'm there, and they deliver my order fast and fresh right to my car. And you could order a Z-Man and fries on your lunch break. You get meats by the pound for your next game day get-together. It don't matter. You can order anything. Download the Joe's app today and grab Joe's to go at any of their 3 locations in Olathe, Leawood, or the original gas station location in KCK, and tell them SSJ sent you. All right. We've started once in a while when I get good ones. We check my DMs on X, and we leave it up to Jake whether or not I should answer it. Jake, should I answer this DM from Caleb? Caleb writes,
C-Lub.
Illuminati membership invitation. Greetings. I'm a full member of the great Illuminati. Do you want to join the Illuminati family to become rich and famous, powerful and protected in life? Join us and kick out your financial problems. Your financial welfare is our aim. With us, you financially free and stable. Kindly reply yes if interested or to know more about the organization. Note, all caps, serious candidates only.
Don't take this lightly.
Should I accept the invitation to join the Illuminati?
I don't want you to join the Illuminati.
But my financial problems are done.
I've received a very similar, and the exact same email.
What do we do?
You guys,
Look at us, man.
you guys are big time.
What do we do?
Serious candidates, the two of us.
I think you should say yes, just because I want to know what the what the
You want
dialogue.
to know what the next step is?
I want to know the
From
dialogue. Let's see what Caleb's dialogue. How you get into the Illuminati?
Right.
It's not a group you want to be a part of.
You sure?
Oh, I accidentally just hit block and report.
Oh man!
Damn.
Don't do Caleb like that.
Sorry, Caleb.
Good luck with your finances.
There is a secret society out there pulling the levers on things, though. That's true.
There is
I've witnessed it now. I've been in the room.
the elite, the 1% of the 1%.
What room is this you've been in?
It was a room, and there were people in there that were pulling levers that we can only imagine.
Oh, I can imagine.
I feel like Nate's being a smartass here.
I'm not actually, Jake. I'm going to tell you a story off the air that's gonna blow your mind.
Will it blow my mind, or will it be like, yep?
Yes. Your mind is already blown. You don't need it to be blown. Anyway.
So since we went off here yesterday, we found out that the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy will be parting ways. Where would he be on your wish list if you are one of the teams with a head coaching vacancy?
Not very high.
Would you be itching and scratching to talk to Mike McCarthy?
I don't think he's a bad coach. I think if I was looking to stabilize the situation, maybe I would think about him.
By the way, you guys are both lame.
Well,
I sent
I'm
you.
not pushing back on that, but I don't know what the source of this.
I knew you were going to come in and co-host with me today, and I sent you guys an excerpt of the Jerry Jones press conference I wanted to play.
Oh, I loved that.
And I got no
damn
response.
it! I forgot to watch that.
No,
I
Oh,
got no
man.
response.
I watched it and I
No
got
response?
I got lost because I started sending that to other people.
I sent that to Bill Moss. I sent that to Tim Grunhard. I sent that to Mike Boddicker. Boddicker loved it. I said, yeah, I was
I was saying,
scanning. Yes.
funny because I sent that to Moss too.
Bill Moss like,
What the hell's
these
wrong with these
knuckleheads,
guys?
leave me alone.
Yeah,
Now,
right.
damn it! I forgot to watch
Oh,
that.
it's so good.
Let's watch in the commercial break.
I can't
It's so
wait.
good.
Bill Moss is like, I'm going to block both of them. Quit sending these things.
It took me a few seconds to figure it out.
Oh
Like-
boy.
Like what's he saying?
There's this X account that takes press conferences and does a masterful job of impersonating the voice. So I don't know how they do it, and they dub it
AI.
and it makes it sound like the guy, but the things that he's
It's scary actually, because I mean you can tell it's fake because of the words, but like we're not too far off.
No, you don't know. Nobody knows what's real anymore.
No.
And it's going to just get harder and harder to figure out.
Oh,
what's
yeah,
real.
you
Well,
can create anything.
what they're coming up with now is that there's things that you can put through AI, and they'll tell you whether it's real or not.
Good luck with that.
AI.
So now you're trusting AI to tell you what's not A.
Yes.
Last, I wrote that silly essay that I sent you guys from like my year in review,
Wasn't silly.
and I decided to. Somebody sent me a response to it, and I was like, "This is a really thoughtful response." And then I read it, and I thought, I think this person had ChatGPT write a review of my essay and
Good.
sent it to me. And so I thought, what would ChatGPT like? How would it review my essay?
Did you put it in
I
ChatGPT?
did, and then what I did, a buddy of mine said, now have him do it in Snoop Dogg's voice. And so I had Snoop Dogg review my essay,
dude.
and oh my God, it was mind blowing.
wild.
And then we went down a whole rabbit hole last night. My son was like, "All right, now have Trump do it," and then like now have, like Obama do it, like let have in like all these people reviewing. It was mind blowing.
Yeah,
it really was. You're like, holy cow, it's
the best
scary.
one that
It's
I've seen
crazy,
of the
man.
past week or so. I sent this out again, no response. Was somebody dubbed what the conversation was like between Barack Obama and Donald Trump
Oh, I saw that.
at
so
Jimmy
good.
Carter's funeral.
Yeah.
I've probably watched that, I don't know, 50 or 60 times.
That's great.
And I simply can't get enough of it. There's like 7 or 8 versions, and every time I can't wait to open it up and watch it.
Heading down a scary path.
Take a
Might as well
break.
laugh while we're going.
Yeah, right, yeah.
If you can't laugh,
Come here,
you'll
let's
cry.
watch this Jerry Jones press conference and see if we should air it in the next segment right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.